you look at Pew polling or Gallup polling about what Americans prioritize, and you break it down by party. So Pew did I don't know if they did, they released a poll this June where they asked do you believe that marriage and family is important for America, that benefits America? 60% of Republicans said yes, marriage and family were important for American society, but only 20% of Democrats said the same thing. So clearly, Republicans vastly value marriage and family much higher than Democrats.
Welcome to the Debrief, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by commentary editor Conn Carroll. Conn, Vice President Kamala Harris is now at the top of the Democratic ticket, didn't go through a primary process, now seems to be evolving, some might say, flip-flopping, others might say, in some of her policy positions. Is that a problem?
Right now, it's not. I mean, right now, everything she's doing, it seems to be working. And when I say everything what she's doing, what I mean is not talking to the press at all. So yes, she has flip-flopped on other issues, including gun control, where she was in favor of mandatory buybacks. Now she's not. She was previously in favor of banning private health insurance. Now she's not. And there are other issues. But interestingly, every one of these flip-flops has not come from Harris herself. It's come from anonymous staffers fielding questions from reporters. And with every one of these flip-flops, it leads to a whole bunch of other questions. So, she says she doesn't want to ban health insurance, private health insurance, but does she still believe that illegal immigrants should get government-funded health insurance? Does she still believe that illegal immigration, crossing the border legally, should be decriminalized? There's tons of other issues surrounding all of these where she needs to explain what her position is. And she very clearly has not done that in any way. And as long as she keeps rising in the polls, I see no reason for her not to.
You've written about the Democratic Party's family problem.
Yes.
Talk about the nature of that a little bit.
Sure. So this was off of a article written in The Atlantic by Derek Thompson, who was basically admitting that the Democratic Party does have a family problem in the sense that when you look at major urban areas, which is where the Democrats are the strongest, families are leaving in droves. And so, he identified some policy reasons why it's tough to live in democratically controlled areas, and he focused mostly on housing costs, and he's not wrong there. But he also said at the beginning of his piece that the reason why Democrats that these Democratic controlled areas, are family unfriendly, is not because of policy or personal decisions on the behalf of Democrats. They're just policy decisions. But that's just not true. When you look at Pew polling or Gallup polling about what Americans prioritize, and you break it down by party. So Pew did I don't know if they did, they released a poll this June where they asked do you believe that marriage and family is important for America, that benefits America? 60% of Republicans said yes, marriage and family were important for American society, but only 20% of Democrats said the same thing. So clearly, Republicans vastly value marriage and family much higher than Democrats. And so when you look at issues like the environment, or gender equity, these are areas where Democratic voters are much more willing to say, look, we need to, have fewer families, less marriage in order to protect the environment, whereas Republicans are the opposite. So this does come down to personal choices, which then, of course, inform the policy choices that you see that make Democratic areas like large cities unfriendly to families.
Immigration is a pretty big issue in this campaign. There's been some instances of immigration fraud that's prompted a reaction from the federal government. Discuss that somewhat.
A couple months ago, the Biden administration unrolled this program that they called the CHNV parole program, humanitarian parole program. And what it does is it pre-approves supporters here in the United States, which then can identify people in Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, and Nicaragua that want to come to the United States. Now, importantly, this is not a refugee program. These people don't have to show that they qualify as a refugee. This is not an asylum program. These people do not have to show that they qualify asylum. All these people have to show is that they are from one of these four countries originally. They don't even have to be in one of these four countries now. You can be in Mexico and apply for this program. You just have to be originally from Cuba or be a Venezuelan citizens. All you have to do is find someone in the United States to sponsor you. and then the DHS will then grant you the right to travel to the United States, and then give you a parole status for 2 years. Now, mind you, none of this is legal. This is a completely made-up program by the Biden administration. None of this is authorized by Congress. What DHS found in an internal audit was that these supporters were engaging in massive fraud. So basically they would say, you know, look, if you're a Cuban national, let's say you're in Mexico, you want to come to the United States, if you pay me $10,000, I will then sponsor you to come here. And they found massive amounts of Social Security number fraud, people putting in fake telephone numbers, people using the same address over and over again, the addresses that should have been houses being, you know, empty warehouses.
Right.
And so there was so much fraud within this program that in July, DHS very quietly shut down the program, paused the program. And so when will it come back? I'm guessing at a minimum after election
After
day.
the election. That seems to be a pretty big problem.
Seems to be, yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Conn.
Absolutely.
You can read Conn and the rest of our commentary team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.